Hey guys, how are you doing? Today we're going to be doing some motion graphics, and we're going to take inspiration from the best guy at this, that is Andrew Kramer of Video Copilot. And yeah, I'm just looking at some of the work he has been doing it here, and I'm trying to see if we can replicate some of it. I'm looking at this here. I think we can do some this here. Let me see if hey Bukenya John, how are you doing? I want to see if I can clip yes, so there is this YouTube trimmer. I want to just get hello Piyush Free, how are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you yourself? Yeah, so we want to do some motion graphics, and I'm looking at this element here. It just looks amazing. Are we going to try and figure out how to do the same thing? Yes, this guy does really some amazing work. So this kind of stroke thing going on there. I want to see if we can, if there is a way we can do it. So let me first clip that video.
Hey, what's up? Andrew Kramer here, videocopilot.net, and welcome back to another very exciting tutorial. Today, we're going to be taking
it. So I want at around here, I think. So I want to clip that part. I'm just trying to figure out how to clip this. Let's see, start. Yeah, so I want to just clip around that segment. And let me see, where is the clip? Clipping part. You trimmed video. Okay, so we want to recreate. Okay, this is not really working out as I expected, but yeah, so what we want to do is recreate this orb here. Maybe let me just have it at the side. Will you please make a detailed tutorial about VFX, please? Yeah, so VFX is quite broad. What particular part of VFX do you want to do? There is motion tracking, there is rotoscoping, there is quite a lot that goes into VFX. So what exactly do you want to be to see done? Okay, so let's try to do this orb thing. I wish there was a way I could trim parts of this, because I'm failing to do that. I can download OBS and clip this, but hello, how goes? Are you wearing pants? Last time I forgot. Yeah, today I am. It's a joke, but I'm always wearing pants anyway. How are you? How have you been, Mr. Smith? So we're trying to create that effect there, and let's just jump into it. And I guess we can start by setting up our camera. And you can see we have some nice volumes. So we can start with that. I can add a volume object like this. Let me turn on my keys for you guys who want to watch. See the keys I'm using. Just bring my camera set up here. This is going to be our volume object. So view. So we're going to do a lot of experimenting here. So you will have to bear with me. Let's use a principal volume. go to the material here. I want a light just in the same position, like so. We grab this. Me just get the camera and just hello, Paulo Rodriguez. How are you? And he's at I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, so I want to just get nearly the same scene. Go to the camera, just give this a value of 1. Let's create this base surface. I shouldn't be that hard. Maybe let me also reposition my setup here. Just have an element like that. And I should be, let me use auto smooth. Now this can be Ctrl E, mark shape. You can let me know if everything is great on your side. How was your weekend? How was everything? So this is, I want this to be a little bit visible, and I think our volume is a bit too much, so it has to be a little bit like that. And let me go to my world setting. This has to be 0 or dark, so we don't see much. And I want this the surface to have a nice texture. So I'm going to use my, let me go to my preferences, my texture, my new add-on called textures folder. And this just let me access all my textures in one area, and I can add them and use them quite easily. So let me just see what I can use here. I have some wood PBR materials, so let me just use those. I can just easily set up the PBR materials with one click. I think this needs to be UV unwrapped. So let me just do that with a smart projection. You can see it sets up my UVs quite easily. And sorry, it sets up my PBR materials quite easily. Now maybe let me give this a metallic look and see how things will look. Not bad. Now I can add in some lights for reflections. We're just trying to set up some things right now. Finally, managed to get into a California-based company as a 3D designer with Blender. Congratulations, man! Dragon Perry, let's go, man! Really glad to hear that. Yeah, I don't know who you are, but at least I don't really know you personally, but I feel excited for you. Yeah, you should always come back here and update us on how things are going there. So how did you get the job? Is that, did you write them, or did they approach you? You must be very good if, yeah, that's, congratulations, man. Really glad to hear that. It's a win for everyone here, so yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. Just going to set this to something like 500. Maybe this can stay non-metal. If you can find a relatively easy way to mimic HR Ginger's art style, I would be impressed. Okay, I will check out, do I know who that is? Maybe I've checked out his work. I'll try and see if I can. I want to make this a bit maybe darker. Maybe we can just go in directly into the more exciting stuff, because I know most of you are here for that. So let me just make this a bit darker. And we can use screen space reflections, because I want to have a reflective surface in some areas here. I want this to be very reflective, to be a reflective surface. Maybe give it a bluish. Let's just go to this thing here because and start experimenting with that. Thanks, man. I sent them my Behance profile along with my CV, and they liked the project and called me for an interview, and finally managed to get in. So wow, that's nice. What exactly will you be doing? I know you said you'll be a 3D designer, but like what specifically will you be doing there? Isn't that the dude from Alien? I'm not sure. Hi, what are you doing? So we're trying to create this thing. Let me just play for you the animation one time. It's just so it's only the circular part. I tried to have the video on loop, but yeah, couldn't get it to work. I could have used yeah. So this is what we're trying to create, this orb-looking thing. You forgot me. You forgot about me. You promised me when you worked on the cabin scene. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of forget a lot, so it's not just you. I forget things that I promised myself, so it's not just you. So, but I'll try to work on your suggestions. And for now, let's first try and focus on this and see how things go. And then maybe we can work on new cabin scene if we get some time. So, yeah, let me just UV unwrap this. We're going to create this thing out of procedure textures and see how things go. Let me go to my UV editor, unwrap this. But to make this in this form, I'm just going to add a seam here, add a seam about here, max, Control E, max seam, and then unwrap. And I want this to be straight. So what I can do is just Control select everything and then unwrap using follow active quotes so that we get a much straighter thing like that. I want to straighten this by just realigning these, and I can select this edge, active in video origin 3D cursor. Let me have my 3D cursor here and scale this until we straighten the UVs something like that, and that way we can, let me scale this up just a little bit, yeah, something like that. Let me see. You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. Yeah, man, I forget a lot. I would forget myself if I could, but yeah, sorry about that. The funny part is that I started learning Blender in lockdown during Corona. The first project too is to work on an ad of IoT modules with the team. Congratulations, man! Congratulations. Now it's amazing that you managed to learn Blender in a period of 2 years. That's very impressive. Hello, Eddie. Good to see you. Hello, Rega. Do you make art into NFT? No, I don't. I haven't tried that, and I don't think I would get any buyers if I did. Yeah, I don't know. So we want to create this thing, but as I said, we're going to be doing a lot of experimenting. So let me first, we can start with creating a single line that goes in here. And since we have UV unwrap this to be a straight UV like we have here, we can start with a texture gradient. And you can see when I move this, we need to make sure that this is using UV maps, UV generated maps. So when I move this across, you see we get a kind of like a disk animation or a disk reveal. So I can move this on the x-axis to get something like a loading screen here. Now, if I scale this on the y, let me see, can I? I just want a thin line. So I think what I can do, I just want a thin line here. What I can do is duplicate this array, this setup here. At this time, maybe have a different UV map, create a different UV map, and rotate it 90 degrees. And for this, we're going to use that UV map, input UV map, and select the second UV map we have just created. And for this, we can scale everything up to fit our UV grid. And I just make sure that all this is reset to 0. And now what you see is that we are getting this kind of gradient that comes into this. My first NFT is non-profit. Yeah, I think it's very hard to make money with that. You need to be a very well-known artist. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard for you to make any money. So I'm going to add a car ramp here because I want to create a thin line that we can animate. And I'm just going to add another ramp here so that we can have a line like this, a thin line like that. Maybe you can even just use the constant option to get something strong like that, but I think I prefer the linear so that we have something like that. I'm also going to turn on subdivision surface so that it's more rounded. Now we can blend it with this, and this time we can use the subtract option. Subtract. That way, if we move this, we get that kind of loading effect that grows like so. Or we can just rotate, I think, the X, the Z direction and still get the same thing. Or scale this up, and we should get, if we want the opposite for it to go the opposite direction, I think we can just scale this on the opposite by -1. And now if we move this, we can have it do something like that. Hello Deepak, how are you doing? So now if you look closely to this, you can see God, I'm going to miss it again. Hello Venom Gift, how are you doing? I want to go back to the frame. Sorry, unfortunate that I can't clip the parts that I want. Yeah, you can see that glow. So you want it to go around, or you can even just rotate this, and you should be able to get the same effect. So if I do rotate this, you can also get the same effect. Now, I'm great, Venom. Motion Studio 69, hello, can we keyframe the values in the shading editor? Yes, you can. You can, for example, if I, let me see, which values do we want to keyframe? Actually, I think it's these values here. I can just hit I and keyframe this, like so. Now if I play, it's moving a bit, yeah, something like that. Now we can use this in conjunction with an emission and a translucent or transparent shader. Transparent, just blend the two, and I use this as the factor. Now we can go to the material and make sure that we have turned on blending mode. You don't have to show back face. I think we need to invert this. This should be transparent, non-translucent. So shader, transparent. Let's show back face. And we get that nice hello, but let's see what's going on here. Let me look at this gradient here, the second gradient. And let's see. Just need to make sure that this is giving us the right values like that. Yeah, so this is what we have so far. Hello everyone, how are you doing? And we can turn on, let me first reduce the music here just a bit. We can turn on bloom for this, and for the emission we can give this something like 100. Maybe 100 is a bit too much, maybe let's say something like 10. So that is our starting point, and I can save this as, I don't know, 1. And I'm going to duplicate this and also duplicate the material so that we have a copy of this. I'm just going to have this on the side, this one on the side, so we don't have to mess up this here. So now we have a very smooth line, but we want to add in some kind of ripples in there. So what we can do, hello Blend Best, how are you doing? Hello Farm Maguire Films, how are you doing? Hello Chidum, how are you doing? Glad to see you back, you guys. Yeah, okay, so we're going to use a texture, noise texture, to kind of distort this line. Because right now you can see it's quite smooth, so we can introduce some distortion by changing the mapping of this a little bit. So let's go back to our gradient. Where are you from? I'm from Uganda, that's in East Africa. You can call me Just Far. Good, great. How are you, Far? Or am I pronouncing that as well wrong as well? So we want to make this line a bit distorted, and there are several ways we can do that. We can just blend it with a noise map like this and change the mix to something like color burn. Let me just set the factor to 1, and maybe just change the order here. And if you look closely, let's just scale the noise a bit, so you can see the noise becomes a bit jagged, and we're essentially giving it some detail. Basically, now if we look at the final thing, we can see that this is a much detailed version than this. But if you look closely, there is also some noise emanating off from the main thing here. So what I can do, I want to keep the different elements separately, because we might end up with a bunch of nodes that can become very confusing. So I'm going to duplicate this into a third wheel. Make sure the material is also duplicated. Any thoughts on the new field system? I don't think I've seen that yet. What exactly is it? I haven't checked it out. I think I should after the stream. Hello, Guatem. Hi, I wanted to ask whether you do 3D as part-time or as a full-time job. If no, then what is your full-time job? So I am basically a developer, a programmer, sorry. I do web developing, but I took a big break. Maybe it has been about a year without doing a lot of web design or web development. But that was my main job. I decided to first concentrate on Blender. So I'm doing a lot of things. Yeah, you can take Blender as my full-time job because I have YouTube. I also do Blender plugins and other things like that. I also do some freelancing work on the side. But Blender has been taking up a lot of my time currently. So I guess it's kind of like a full-time job now. Oh, geometry nodes replacement. Is there a geonode replacement node? Yeah, I haven't really been updated with that, so I'm not really sure. So yeah, let's create. I think we can start with. Let's see. Let's go back because I want to create this kind of fiery effect. Now for that, we can go back to this gradient. We can just hit F and let me just unwrap this. Let's just set up everything from scratch so that we have a much cleaner nodes setup than what we have right now. So are we going to unwrap this? Let me just make sure I remove any seams, clear seams. And now if we create a new gradient texture, because we want to create this kind of fiery effect. So texture, gradient. We can use a spherical gradient and just move the UV around there, the UV map. Make sure that you're using UV map so that we can align our gradient to create a circle like that. And just make sure that I can center it correctly. I think, yeah, somewhere like that. Maybe on the X, on the Y a bit. Grab on the Y just a bit like that. So we have that kind of gradient, and we can use another noise map, texture noise map, and just blend it with this. Change this to color burn. Maybe color burn is a bit too much, too harsh. You can try color dodge. Let's switch this around, and you can see we're already getting some detail in, and all we need, we can add a math node between the noise and the mix node, and that should give us some bit of fire action. Let's try to change the operation to power, and we can even add a color ramp here to get more contrast out of this. Just play with the detail, and you can distort the fire a bit or the noise a bit, maybe increase the detail, play with the roughness so we get more fire effect. Let's try moving this a bit up, maybe scale it on the Y. I'm thinking so we can blend this, we can create the same setup, just need an emission and then a transparent, blend the two and use this as the mask. And now we have a kind of a fiery effect, but this time let's see, we need to create a fire gradient. So Control R, sorry, Shift, let's add a car ramp, and this is going to be for the emission color. Then you can go and find a fire gradient and just sample that to get the color, or you can just estimate the color. I'm feeling so noob. Yeah, you get there. You get there. So we want to create a fiery scene. So I'm just going to add in some red. This can be white. You know what? Let's just look for a fire gradient. I don't want to just estimate things. I think you can get this. Just going to save that and just drop it in here so that I can sample the colors directly from there. So the hottest area are going to take on that color, then the midpoints, that yellow, then this can be a red, maybe a richer red like that, and this is going to be our emission. And let's try 10. Now let's look at this render. So it's not as powerful as what we have. Maybe let's just play with a color ramp here. We can add a mix node here, just so we can play with the. I think it can be here. Yeah, I'm trying to play with. Actually, we don't need it there. I'm trying to play with the energy. Hi everyone, looks fantastic. Thank you, Kadil Sugar. Let's see. We can even scale the gradient a bit. Maybe instead of using color dodge, we can try a different blending mode. Let's try mixed. Okay, that doesn't really give us. Let's try multiply. Gives us a smoother gradient, and there may be even richer details. So let's see. But the center becomes a bit too bright for my liking. So let's bring this back to color dodge. You can just play with the colors here. If you want the fire to recede back a bit. And if you want, you can even scale this up or scale it down to get something like that. Remember, everything is going to be layered, so I can just have this ring in the same position like that, and maybe even just grab this to be our third layer in there. And remember, everything is unmatable, so we can come in here to the fire system. This which one? This here. Just going to grab this. I think I can also just I'm just going to set a few things up here. It is 7:38 p.m. in Ireland. What time is it in your world? It's 9:38 p.m. So we are like 2 hours ahead of you. Yeah, nice. How is Ireland? How are things there? Yeah. So what time is it in your areas? From where you are? What time? What location are you watching the stream from? And how are things there? Your work with node compositing is cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, we wanted to animate the fire ring, this here. And we just have to animate the noise. So I'm just going to add some texture coordinate mappings here. That will give me access. So this is just scaling up the noise. We can play with the Z rotation. The X rotation will give us some nice animation. Let's try even the Y, the Z location. We can animate the Y position. Let's do vector. Also, let me bring my outliner, select all my lights, Shift G, type, give them their own collection called lights. That way I can control how things look by just determining what light is on and what light is off. For example, this has to give us the same reddish look. Maybe let me first disable this and have just this light. Maybe let's try using an area with a disk surface. Something like that. Here it is 1:39 p.m. Mexico. Nice, nice, nice. So you are hours back behind us. Rita Gerard. Weather is mild, thankfully no rain. And where is... Oh, in Ireland? Yeah, so I hear it's always a bit cold in Ireland. So is it a seasonal thing, or is it's always like that? I think I can change one of these rings to be a bluish color just to make the scene maybe not that bluish, but kind of... Actually, let me just use this here. Give it a bluish tone. And one of the issues we're having here is that our gradient kind of cuts out very abruptly. So I think I can actually snort this is this here. It cuts out quite abruptly. India 12:10 a.m. Nice, 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 nice. Mexico, but be hot. I love chili con cam. Sorry, I can't pronounce some of the words, but yeah. So this is how our fire looks. I think it's going in the wrong direction, so I'm just going to switch these keyframes so that we get it going up instead of whatever direction is going on right now. Yeah, so it's going up like that, and seems to be a bit animated. And like I said, we can scale this, and on that we can scale the gradient a bit in like that. And let me look at this. So I can also change the gradient to be, let me first add a color ramp here, to be something like this. And maybe let me change this to ease. So we have, so the gradient is a bit thicker. And now I can use this here, which will give us something like that. And this can use just see. It gives us some bit of detail on the outside as well. And these lines, this other ring can be around there. Just playing with the details just a bit to get something that looks a bit interesting. So we get some extra detail, some extra fire at the top there. So yeah, something like that. Good evening, Top Channel. How are you doing? I'm great. How are you doing? When we Irish crawl into our bed, Australia's rise. Because it's there on the opposite side. I also love tortilla. I eat that with coffee, with soft coffee and spicy Indian mango. I haven't tasted a lot of food. I wish I could travel to just for that. Anyway, so their version is a bit more detailed and has quite a lot of things going on. Has that spin, has more effects. So Blender has a few extra, has some limitations, as you might already know. But let's try to work to do different things and see if we can get those limitations out. So right now I have this here. I want to distort it a bit. So let me see, where do we start? Where would we start here? I have this. So I think we can create a normal map out of this.